Do you ever wonder why your feline friend acts a certain way? Have you ever caught yourself making mistakes that your cat hates as disrespectful or offensive? Are you curious about the things that cats dislike the most? Well, you're in luck. In this video, we're going to be discussing the top 10 surprising things that cats hate. So, stick around and don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content like this. The first thing on our list of things that cats dislike is loud noises. Cats have incredibly sensitive hearing, and loud noises can be incredibly stressful and uncomfortable for them. They may hide, run away, or even become aggressive when they are exposed to loud noises. Common sources of loud noise in the home include vacuum cleaners, blenders, and loud music. Even the sound of a television or radio on too loud can be a problem for some cats. So, what can you do to minimize loud noises and create a quiet environment for your cat? One tip is to keep your home as quiet as possible. This means avoiding loud music and television, and keeping the volume on appliances like vacuum cleaners and blenders to a minimum. Another tip is to provide your cat with a quiet, safe space where they can retreat to when they are feeling stressed or uncomfortable. This could be a cozy bed in a quiet room, or a cardboard box with a soft blanket inside. Additionally, getting a white noise machine or a fan on in the background can help mask unexpected loud noises and create a background noise that cats can get used to. The second thing on our list of things that cats dislike is sudden movements. Cats are naturally prey animals and are always on the lookout for potential danger. Sudden movements can trigger their natural instinct to flee or defend themselves. This can cause them to become scared, anxious, or even aggressive. Common actions that may startle your cat include reaching out to pet them unexpectedly, walking up behind them without warning, or making sudden, loud noises. Even something as simple as clapping your hands or snapping your fingers can be enough to startle a cat. So, how can you avoid startling your cat and make sure you're approaching and interacting with them in a way that they find comfortable? One tip is to move slowly and calmly around your cat. This means taking your time when you're getting up from your seat, walking across the room, or reaching out to pet them. Another tip is to give your cat plenty of warning before you make a sudden move. This could mean talking to them softly, making a small noise, or even just giving them a few seconds to adjust to your presence before you reach out to touch them. Another tip is to pay attention to your cat's body language. A relaxed cat will have a loose, wagging tail, soft eyes, and a relaxed body. A cat that is anxious or scared will have a puffed up tail, dilated pupils, and a tense body. By learning to read your cat's body language, you'll be better equipped to understand how they're feeling and adjust your behavior accordingly. Being restrained is another thing that cats often dislike. Cats are independent animals and they value their freedom and autonomy. Being held or confined in a carrier can make them feel trapped and stressed. This can cause them to become aggressive or anxious. Examples of common situations where cats may feel restrained include being held for an extended period of time, being put in a carrier for trips to the vet, or even being confined to a small room or area of the house. So, what can you do to make restraint less stressful for your cat? One tip is to use a soft carrier that is big enough for your cat to move around in comfortably. This will give them more room to move and make them feel less confined. Another tip is to provide treats and positive reinforcement when you're putting your cat in the carrier or holding them. This will help to associate these actions with something positive, rather than something negative. It's also important to gradually introduce your cat to the carrier or being held, starting with short periods of time and gradually increasing the duration. This will help them to become more accustomed to the experience and make it less stressful. Another thing that cats dislike is strong scents. Cats have a highly developed sense of smell, and strong scents can be overwhelming and uncomfortable for them. In fact, some cats may even develop respiratory problems from exposure to strong scents. Examples of common strong scents in the home include cleaning products, perfumes, and scented candles. Even the smell of food cooking can be overwhelming for some cats. So, what can you do to minimize strong scents and create a pleasant environment for your cat? One tip is to avoid using heavily scented cleaning products. Instead, opt for unscented or lightly scented alternatives. Another tip is to avoid using air fresheners or scented candles. Instead, try using natural air fresheners such as plants or baking soda. Also, avoid using plug-in air fresheners or sprays because they can release chemicals into the air that can be harmful to your cat. Another tip is to keep your cat's living area well ventilated. This means opening windows and doors to let fresh air in and circulate. This will help to keep the air clean and fresh and minimize the impact of strong scents. Being alone is something that cats dislike. Cats are social animals and they thrive on companionship and interaction. Being alone for extended periods of time can make them feel lonely, bored, and stressed. Cats who are left alone for long periods of time may develop behavioral issues such as destruction, excessive grooming, or even depression. So, what can you do to make sure your cat is not alone for too long and provide them with companionship and entertainment when you're away? One tip is to provide your cat with interactive toys that will keep them engaged and stimulated. This could be something as simple as a laser pointer or a wand toy, or more complex toys such as puzzle feeders. Another tip is to provide your cat with plenty of hiding spots and cozy places to sleep. This will give them a sense of security and make them feel more at home. Also, consider getting another cat or a companion animal such as a rabbit if you're going to be away for long periods of time. This will provide your cat with the companionship they need and keep them entertained. Being ignored is something that cats dislike. Cats are social animals and they crave affection and attention from their owners. Being ignored can make them feel unloved and unimportant. Cats who are ignored may become aloof, withdrawn, or even develop behavioral issues such as destructive behavior or spraying. So, what can you do to show your cat affection and attention in a way that they enjoy? One tip is to set aside dedicated playtime with your cat each day. This could be something as simple as playing with a wand toy or laser pointer, or more complex interactive toys such as puzzle feeders. Another tip is to make sure you're providing your cat with plenty of opportunities for physical and mental stimulation. This could be through interactive toys, or simply by providing them with plenty of hiding spots and cozy places to sleep. It's also important to provide your cat with regular grooming and petting sessions. Cats love to be brushed and petted, and it's a great way to bond with them and show them affection. Another thing that cats dislike is being touched in certain areas. Cats are very particular about how and where they want to be touched, and certain areas can be more sensitive or uncomfortable for them. For example, many cats do not like to be touched on their tails or their bellies. This can be because these areas are more sensitive or because they associate these areas with vulnerability. So, what can you do to make sure you're petting and grooming your cat in a way that they find comfortable? One tip is to pay attention to your cat's body language. A relaxed cat will have a loose, wagging tail, soft eyes, and a relaxed body. A cat that is uncomfortable will have a puffed up tail, dilated pupils, and a tense body. By learning to read your cat's body language, you'll be better equipped to understand how they're feeling and adjust your behavior accordingly. Another tip is to start by petting your cat in areas that they are comfortable with, such as their head and neck, and gradually work your way down their body. This will help them to become more accustomed to being touched and make it less uncomfortable for them. It's also important to be gentle and slow when petting your cat. Cats prefer a soft touch, rather than a rough one. Also, avoid using your nails when petting your cat, as it can be uncomfortable for them. Another thing that cats dislike is being disciplined. Cats are independent animals and they don't respond well to punishment or negative reinforcement. They are more likely to respond to positive reinforcement and rewards-based training methods. Punishing a cat for bad behavior can make them stressed, anxious, or even lead to fear and aggression. They may not understand why they are being punished, and it can damage the trust and bond between you and your cat. So, what can you do to make sure you're training and correcting your cat's behavior in a positive and non-punitive way? One tip is to use positive reinforcement techniques, such as rewarding your cat with treats or praise when they behave in a way you want. This will teach them what behaviors are desirable and encourage them to repeat those behaviors in the future. Another tip is to redirect your cat's behavior when they're engaged in something you don't want them to do. For example, if your cat is scratching the couch, redirect them to a scratching post. This will teach them what is appropriate to scratch and what is not. The confinement in small spaces is something that cats dislike. Cats are curious animals and they love to explore and move around. Being confined to a small space can make them feel trapped and stressed. Cats who are confined to small spaces for extended periods of time may develop behavioral issues such as destruction, aggression, or even depression. So, what can you do to make sure your cat has plenty of room to move and explore? One tip is to provide your cat with plenty of hiding spots and cozy places to sleep. This will give them a sense of security and make them feel more at home. Another tip is to provide your cat with plenty of interactive toys that will keep them engaged and stimulated. This could be something as simple as a laser pointer or a wand toy, or more complex toys such as puzzle feeders. It's also important to provide your cat with access to the outdoors, if possible. This could be through a cat flap, or by taking your cat for walks on a harness. This will give them the opportunity to explore and experience the natural world. Another thing that cats dislike is being disturbed while sleeping. Cats are natural predators, but they also spend a lot of their time sleeping. They need a comfortable and peaceful sleeping environment to feel safe and secure. Being disturbed while sleeping can disrupt their sleep and make them feel stressed and anxious. Cats who are disturbed while sleeping may have trouble sleeping in the future, which can lead to behavioral and health issues. So, what can you do to make sure your cat has a comfortable and peaceful sleeping environment? One tip is to provide your cat with a cozy bed in a quiet room. This will give them a sense of security and make them feel more at home. Another tip is to avoid making loud noises or sudden movements around your cat while they are sleeping. This will help them to stay in a deep sleep and not be disturbed. It's also important to provide your cat with plenty of hiding spots and cozy places to sleep. This will give them a sense of security and make them feel more at home. Finally, it's important to remember that every cat is different, and what may be okay for one cat may be too much for another. Therefore, it is crucial to keep an eye on your cat's behavior and make adjustments as necessary to make sure they are comfortable. In conclusion, cats are complex creatures and they have their own likes and dislikes. As a cat owner, it's important to understand these preferences and make adjustments as necessary to ensure your cat is comfortable and happy. We have covered 10 things that cats dislike, which includes loud noises, sudden movements, being restrained, strong scents, being alone, being ignored, being touched in certain areas, being disciplined, being in small spaces, and being disturbed while sleeping. By understanding these dislikes, you can make adjustments to your cat's environment and behavior to make sure they are comfortable and happy. Remember, every cat is different, so it's important to keep an eye on your cat's behavior and make adjustments as necessary. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and any other things you think cats dislike. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out.